Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Week 8 football preview show. I'm Bob Strickley, and with me is our intrepid reporter, Cody Leist. We're just going to run down to the action real quick here. We got Gallia Academy at Portsmouth High School, and you talked to Clifford earlier this week about this game.
Yeah, Kurt is really excited for this game, although it's going to be an emotional one with it being senior night for the Trojans. 12 seniors will be playing their final game at the Coliseum, but there are a lot of positives coming from this game, coming from last week against Cincinnati College Prep. Trojans, for the first time all year, didn't commit a turnover. They were +2 in that margin in that game and went on to win 46-6 over the Lions. They're kind of hoping that being able to go in and not have any turnovers will translate again to another week where they're going to look to try to go 3-2 at home this season. A thing that not too many positives with the Trojans this year, but you know what? That's a good sign that they're trying to win at home, trying to protect the home field here in Portsmouth. But again, they're going to be going up against a Gallia Academy team that has been pretty interesting with the way they play. They were they lost 6-0 to Ironton earlier this year. They have a couple of good wins, but still, it's going to be a good battle between these two teams. Plus, Portsmouth's looking to go in and exact revenge on the big loss they had in Gallipolis last year, 63-20.
All right, moving on to our next game, which will be the game that you'll be covering, is Waverly versus West. West, coming off that loss to Valley, now 6-1 on the season, is looking to get back on track, and of course they'll probably be looking for their quarterback Levi Ratliff and the rushing attack of Kyle Auger to boost their offense and get things back in the winning ways. Anything about Waverly that's really sticking out to you this point in the season?
Well, with Waverly, they're still in that transition phase where they're still young. They're still trying to get experience. Talking to Rusty Wright at the beginning of the season, he was kind of hoping that they would go in and use some of the past history where they went like 1-9 or 0-10, and then the next year they would use it to go into a playoff appearance. Obviously, this year is not going to happen for them in that situation, but I think building blocks and being able to keep continuing on to progress as a team is something that he's really looking forward to.
Now, speaking of two teams that were considered to be very young going into the season, it's the last matchup that we're going to be covering. Our reporter Jake Doro will be there to cover the Wheelersburg versus Minford game. Two teams, both suffering through the lumps of having a youth-filled roster, but Berg's really done a better job at this point than Minford. And talking to both coaches, they know it's going to be a physical contest, and Brent Daniels of Minford talked to me a little bit about trying to establish the run game and just being sound up front because Wheelersburg likes to stunt their defensive line quite a bit. Is there anything that you think Minford can do to kind of slow down this Wheelersburg attack that's been led by Alex Shears at this point in the season?
Obviously, one of the things, if you want to go in and slow the game down, is to run the football, and that's what Minford does primarily. So in order to keep – or sometimes the best defense is a good offense, so being able to go in and keep the Wheelersburg offense off the field is something that probably Brent Daniels is really wanting to harp with his team this week. They were using 6 and 7 tailbacks last week in their homecoming win over Northwest. So being able to rotate kids in fresh and trying to pound the ball in, keep moving the chains by running the ball, I think that's what he's going to be looking forward to in Friday night's game.
All right, we'll have those three games covered for you in the Saturday edition of the Portsmouth Daily Times. Follow our in-game updates on Twitter. You'll find the links right below us on the screen. And thank you for joining us for the Week 8 preview.